All right, so here we are. Here is our song, "Go Tell It on the Mountain" / "This Is Amazing Grace." And okay, what we did, we put in all of our markers, so you can see that we've got all the way to the end of the song. We consolidated everything, we arranged it, we warped it, we changed the colors, made it all look nice. Okay, so that's great. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create a guide track and a repeat track. We've already got our guide track here, but what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to cut all of these lines, and we're going to need to label in each part of the guide track what part of the song it is. And this is really going to help us when we go over into our session view. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to click on the line, and then I'm going to go Command E, and that cuts. And you'll notice that I'm cutting everything right here. All right, just like so. We'll just go through. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, sweet. Simple as that. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Now I'm going to click on a region. I'm going to Command R, and I'm going to type in what each region is, just like so. Okay. Chorus all in. This is a breakdown. Down, and then bridge build. The cool thing about this, as I'm doing it here, is once you do it for one song, it really you'll get pretty fast at it. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is a ton to do for track building, but man, it is so much. Nicer to have tracks like this for a lot of reasons. One, like I was saying in the first video, you can jump around in time. So if let's just say the intro as a worship leader, maybe I want to like talk to the congregation and kind of say something during the intro. I'm not going to be limited to like 8 bars, and then I have to wrap up what I'm saying in an 8-bar period and go into the verse like you would if you were running like from tracks from like a iPad or something. This, you can just repeat that intro in time as long as you need to, and then when you're done, the MD or yourself, you can just hit a button and it will go on to the verse, and it's super nice. And then also too, in Ableton, we can send multiple outs to the soundboard. So we could have all of these, like let's just say it was you and your acoustic guitar. You could have drums going to one channel, you could have bass going to another channel, you could have EG1, BGVs, keys, going to all different channels on the board. So the sound guy has the flexibility to mix, like there's actually a full band there, with the exception of the drums. The drums are all consolidated, but it's a nice mix. It would be going to one channel. I mean, it sounds nice and full anyway. So like for churches that don't have, the full band player capacity every week, this is great. And it's not just an iPad where everything's coming down one channel. It gives you the freedom, it gives your sound guy the freedom to actually mix. Like there's those guys up on stage with you, and it'll sound way better. So anyway, so all to say, we've renamed all of our guide tracks. This is great. And now what we're going to do, we're going to come over here and I'm going to click duplicate. All right, or sorry, Command D. You can go up to your edit button and duplicate. That will work too. And then I'm going to Command R, and I'm going to rename it. Repeat. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, and you'll see why here in a second, I'm going to delete this one, I'm going to delete this one. And then from here on out, I'm going to just drag everything over one section. And the reason is because if I was repeating, I would want to hear this. I would arm this guy or unmute this guy, and it would be a dynamic guide cue essentially. So let's just say I was doing the bridge build here, and I'll demonstrate it. I'm going to mute our guide track. I'm going to leave our repeat track on. If we're doing the bridge here, okay. So, and I want to repeat it, okay. So when it gets to here, I'm gonna click this little flag here, and you're gonna hear it say bridge again, or build, or whatever it says. Bridge. So I'm gonna click it, okay, and it went back, and it told the band that, hey, we're going back. All right, so now we've done it twice, and we want to move on. So I'm just gonna unmute the guide track, mute the repeat track, and now it's gonna now that one's gonna be unmuted. It's gonna go on just like so. So that's why this is really nice. So in a setting when you have an MD who knows what they're doing, they can, I mean, this is so helpful. So you can read the audience, you can like listen to kind of how the spirit is leading, and then jump around in time. You're not stuck being a slave to the track. And I think in a worship setting, we shouldn't be a slave to anything. And we should be able to be free to follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. So all right, so there we go. So we got that. We don't need anything there. That's all good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put all of this in sections over into our session view. So you'll notice this is arrangement view. See where my mouse is. It's got the linear lines. This is, if I click on this is session view, and it's all vertical like that. All right. I can also hit tab, and tab takes me back and forth between the two views. All right. I'm gonna hide my return tracks, and I'm also gonna hide my sends down here. All right. So now we're over here. So there, you notice there's nothing in this area. Now we're gonna start putting everything in this area. Okay. So I'm gonna leave. Basically, just so it's easier to see, I'm just gonna leave open my repeat queue. I'm gonna highlight in this section right here. I'm gonna go up to create and consolidate time to new scene. All right, and what that's doing, just put all these clips from just the count, it put them in my session view. So if I go over to session view now, boom, there it is, right there. All right, and so what we're gonna do, we're essentially gonna create the entire song, and you're just gonna see a lot of clips start filling in these areas. All right, I wish Ableton would have a shortcut to consolidate time to new scene. It'd be so much easier, but they don't. So we'll just have to bear it and just go up to create with our mouse every time. So I'm just highlighting it, and I want to be sure to grab everything. I don't want to get too quick and like leave a little bit empty here, because if you don't get everything within these two markers, these two locators, then it will really throw you off, because the timing won't be right when you're running it in session view. And I typically always run all my tracks in session view. Arrangement view is great for building your tracks, but I'll show you at the end of the next video how I run my tracks. And you know what, Ableton is something where man, I've heard so many guys say they love it different, or they love to run it differently than I do, and that's totally cool. That's the nice thing about Ableton. It's kind of complex. It's probably one of the more complicated live DAWs to use out there, but once you start to understand, it's not as big and scary as maybe you would originally have thought, and it gives you a lot of flexibility, and it's pretty powerful. So I would say stick with it. You know, when I was last year about this time, I didn't really know Ableton super well, and I was like, dang, I'm just gonna learn. I want to use it more. I know the capacity that it has is a high capacity to run tracks live, and so I just spent like probably a good 3 weeks just YouTubing videos on how to operate Ableton and how to build tracks in Ableton. See right there, if I would have gone from here, I would have left out this spot, and that would have not been good. So but yeah, so I just kind of studied how to use Ableton about 3 weeks and started to get a hang of it. And honestly, you know, I learned the way I'm doing it now isn't quite the same way that anybody out there was doing it. There were some guys like Christian Ponsford and the multi-track guys, like they're running tracks similar to this, and I use a lot of the stuff that they have showed, but even I've found some things that work better for me than what they were doing. So and that's probably the joy of it. So all right, so now we've done all of that. We've consolidated all of our scenes. So now if I go back over, if I hit tab and go over to session view, boom, look at that, I got all of these cool clips. So I'm just going to clean this up real quick. I don't need from here down. So I'm going to, let's see, click on 3, hold down Shift, and I'm going to hit delete, and I also don't need the first column because that's empty. I'm going to open up my master just a little bit bigger. All right, and then we will, in our next video, we will go into kind of cleaning this up, organizing it, and then we'll be done. So stay tuned.